I'm not going to use this video to whinge about how Nickelback are misunderstood or how they're secretly the most underrated band of the 2000s or even the 2010s. Nickelback's Dark Horse era, their Feed the Machine era from like the late 2000s to all the way through the 2010s, that butt pop rock era with Chad Kroeger's famous Nickelback vocals over some Imagine Dragons bullshit. I'm not going to defend that era of Nickelback. And don't worry, I'm not going to defend Photograph. But as hated as Nickelback are, and as much as I hate that song, If Today Was Your Last Day, there are some Nickelback songs I actually like. Yes, I am using this video as a sort of confessional booth. That's okay, it's just the way I like it. I'm just some faceless guy on the internet. Let's just enjoy the anonymity the internet provides while it lasts, okay? The first song I'm going to talk about is Nickelback's first big hit, How You Remind Me. Pretty neat little song about some guy who realizes that he's not, the smart, edgy badass that he used to think he was. And after breaking up with his girlfriend, does he realize that his relationship was the only thing that was going for him? It's kind of one of those I'm nothing without you types of songs. But unlike some other post-grunge, post-Nirvana types stuff that was really popular in the 2000s, he's not using his verses to whinge about how much he wants her back. He's just coming to terms with the fact that he's a shitty person. This is the sort of woe is me thing that I can get behind. It's just woe is me, plain and simple. No weird gaslighting or manipulation about how much my life sucks without you. Please take me back or I'll go insane. Just a simple song about a guy who finally realizes that his life sucks. And this sort of grungy thing with depressive lyrics, it suits Chad Kroeger's rough vocals pretty well. The instrumentals themselves, the parts of a song that the other members of Nickelback do. I mean, yeah, it's all right. Doesn't get away with the song at all. Doesn't bring it down. Just a simple little rock tune. In fact, I actually think Silver Side Up is a pretty good album. This was when Nickelback was firmly trying to be your typical rock band and not this pop rock, butt rock crossover that they accidentally turned out to be during, the late 2000s to pretty much all of the 2010s. Another song I actually like from that album is a song called Too Bad. The song actually deals with pretty heavy themes about poverty, dysfunctional families, and seeing if it's possible to reconvene and have some kind of relationship with your father, even though he pretty much abandoned you, if it's even possible at all. Now, songs with heavy topics don't translate well at all into pop music, at least not automatically, because, pop songs are written to be pop songs first and foremost, just songs for pretty much any person. And asking someone to write about a topic that they don't really know anything about is always a recipe for disaster. You want BTS to write a song centered around a heavy topic like the rising obesity rates in the Western world? No, I didn't think so either. Also, one thing I like about the music video is that the bassist actually does stuff in it. Of course, you see, most bass players are boring. You kind of get the feeling that most of them are just there because the band already had a guitarist and they joined a bit too late, so they had to pick up the bass. But Nickelback's bass player in the music video for Too Bad, he's slowing down the lay end, he's having a great time. He's even doing so in a cowboy hat. To all the bass players watching this video, do stuff. You're in the band. Act like you're in the band. So, 3 years after they released Silver Side Up on September 11th, 2001, a fantastic timing, right? Nickelback released All the Right Reasons, which is their best-selling album to date. The album went straight to number one in the US the moment it was released, and that's no small feat. And this was during an era when fellow rock bands Green Day, 9 Inch Nails, System of a Down, Twice, and Hilary Duff combined with having to battle the charts with Kanye West, The Game, 50 Cent, and even Mariah Carey, going to number one when all of those albums are battling for number one spot. That's impressive. However, do I think it's a good album? Not really. I think Nickelback tried to go a little bit more pop and a little bit more accessible. But, with Chad Kroeger's voice, it's just not possible. Sugar. Oh, honey, honey. Yeah, you see, it doesn't work. So there is one song off that album that I actually do like. It's called Someday. Much like How You Remind Me and Too Bad, it's another song about a flawed individual who knows he's flawed, but at least he's trying his best. I mean, the chorus goes, someday, somehow, I'm gonna make it all right, but not right now. Chad Kroeger's still the basket case he always was. And the same Chad Kroeger that apparently everyone was craving, like right as 9/11 happened. Because it debuted like straight to number 2 on the Billboard charts. A full 126 places than their previous album just 2 years earlier could achieve during whatever maximum sales period it had. I mean, there's basically nothing on Nickelback prior to Suicide Up. You may have noticed I'm a bit less enthusiastic about Someday than How You Remind Me and Too Bad. I mean, Someday is Nickelback. Well, it is classic Nickelback, just a bit softer, a bit more mellow, not quite hardcore enough for my hardcore Nickelback tastes. And as for the rest of the album, okay, this is the album that includes Photograph. Photograph, well, it's a meme song. It was a meme song back then when I was young, still a meme song now. Listening to Chad bellow his heart out about what the hell was on Joey's head. Yeah, and this was also the album that included Rockstar. You know, the song where Chad lists a bunch of stuff about what he'd do, all the drugs he'd take, how drunk he'd get, how many cars he'd have, how many bathrooms he'd have. Yeah, it's not the most fun song to listen to. It does get pretty monotonous after 10 seconds. Okay, so Chad's obviously playing a character in the song, the sort of person who'd throw away their life, their friends, their family, basically all the memories that they had growing up just to get a lick of that sweet, sweet taste of fame and maybe $1 million. But it's still just a song about Chad listing the things that his theoretical, desperate wannabe celebrity wants to do for like a full 3 minutes. The rest of the album's just filled with slow ballads. A slow ballad with Chad Kroeger singing about how much he misses his girlfriend. Yeah, no thanks. I'll pass. So, is that it? I've mentioned before that I had a distrust and possibly pure hatred of Nickelback during their Dark Horse and Feed the Machine era, their butt rock Imagine Dragons era. But that was then, and that ended in 2017. They released an album last year called Get Rollin'. The lead single off that is one I'll remember, because the needle dropper himself, Mr. Anthony Fantano, put it in his worst tracks, and he said it was like a hardcore sort of metalcore song, and I thought, even though it's Nickelback on the worst tracks, which is, expected, Nickelback doing a hardcore song, that definitely sounds more up Nickelback's alley, or at least something they should be leaning towards. So I gave it a shot, and yeah, it actually sounds alright. The heavy riffs, the heavy bass, angry Chad Kroeger energy. I thought, fuck yeah, Nickelback! Until I started listening to the lyrics a bit more. Mixing rock metaphors with present terminology. Yeah, it's awkward. But it still proves that deep down, Nickelback can still do a pretty decent hardcore song. And the other 2 singles off that album were Those Days and High Time. A soft rock song and a country butt rock song. So close, Nickelback. But the 4th and last single they released from an album was called Skinny Little Missy. And yes, it's a song about sex. Nickelback have done plenty of sex songs before, to not great results. But this one, it's hard, it's dirty, it's about a woman who just wants sex. To a hardcore tune. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But my opinion is just my opinion. Even though rock is going through just a little bit of a resurgence right now, kind of, I think the sort of instrument-only, can-be-played live sorts of songs are usually just relegated to country right now, at least in the charts. But after the 4 singles they released, Nickelback's hardcore sort of metalcore songs perform better than their other 2 much softer, much poppier songs, at least on Spotify and YouTube in terms of streams and views. And hey, that's a promising sign. If I were Nickelback's manager, I'd tell him to go in this direction. Forget the trends. Try and make your songs softer so the average person can stomach them a bit more. Go full hardcore. Go full Chad Kroeger. The numbers don't lie. That's what the fans want. Anything slower, just add grit to it. Give it the old Kroger's Brett Brand sandpaper, and you'll be back in the top 10 of the charts in no time.